And Rob McAllister is the voice of your Sac Republic as they make their way through the USL Championship playoffs. They got a big 3-1 win over San Antonio last Friday. Rob, thanks so much for hopping on, man. Glad Republic's still playing.
Oh, thanks for having me on. 10 years strong, still going, and we're rolling through this year. Yeah, we have a very strong team.
Day one, is this so you've been the Republic broadcaster from the jump. Is this the best Republic team you've seen?
I think they have the same characteristics as a 14 team. You could just feel it. I think depth-wise, this is a much more talented team. I just think the league is a lot better. But we talked about on the broadcast against San Antonio. I mean, both those teams, the talent is now, you get to the point of the playoffs where you could put another team together with just those players on the bench and they would probably be in the playoffs. I mean, it's that strong across the league. And you know what you're looking at now is guys who probably feel like they should be starting and they're not even in the 18. So it's a tough decision for Mark Briggs, but it's great for us because we've got a lot of great opportunities to get guys goals, and defensively we've got some of the best players in the league. So it's a great rounded out team.
You know, Rob, it's interesting how the USL is like sort of morphed over the years. Where are they at? How do you feel like the talent level has increased? And why do you think it is that the talent level has increased? Is soccer just finally starting to get the traction that everybody has tried to get in the United States?
Yeah, I think soccer's had its moments throughout its years. I mean, the 70s, it got really hot again. You had some opportunities, when Pele and some other big names came over. MLS took a huge step when, David Beckham kind of came over and so raised the profile. And now that has continued to surge. I think there's just money being put into it. And guys that would probably be able to play in MLS a few years ago aren't able to make the rosters because the talent there is so much better. So now you're finding those same type of talented players here in the USL. I mean, I think it's some of the guys that we even have on our team. It's shocking to me that we don't, or that we have them and they're not up at bigger leagues. And some have played in the top leagues around the world. So I shouldn't even say it. Some have played MLS and Irish Premier League, English Premier League, Spanish Premier League. So they've all been in some of these really big leagues around the world. So I just think overall the talent is there. People also want to play in America. I mean, look at Messi. This wasn't going to happen 5 years ago. And there's just a different attitude about America. And I think America loves soccer. And finally, all the kids playing it for all those years has caught up to us, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember when I was younger. I'm 33 now, and when I was younger, it was like, oh, soccer, what a joke! Like you made fun of it, and now it's something that all my friends are into the Premier League and they're into MLS, and I got friends with MLS season tickets, and they can't wait for the World Cup.
There's fantasy leagues in soccer now, which is crazy.
Amazing.
I'm getting killed in EPL fantasy. I'm getting absolutely smoked.
Yeah,
my bad. I banked on Man U. It was my bad.
Oh boy, that's
my bad.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Well, I think a little bit of that, just that attitude. I think a lot of time too. I think it was soccer's own fault. It was almost like that grunge band thing. That was like a terrible band in the garage, and they had this cult following, and people don't like it when their band becomes big because they think they sell out. I think that's kind of soccer. It's like you just don't get it, and it was not inviting. And I think we finally have broken through that and say, no, this is the world's game. It's exciting. It's fun. It's, 2 hours. I think the time limit thing's sort of a big deal. And I think it's just captivated people, and they love the atmosphere as much as they love it on the field. And, you just see a lot of big name players now talking about it, following it in other sports. And so it's become really fun. And, the whole Wrexham thing is a whole nother thing, right? I think you just have entertainment that has allowed, people the inside of soccer, much like F1 has blown up, right, with the Netflix series. I think you're seeing that with soccer, is that there's just a lot more attention and people are interested in the stories and what goes on in the field and understanding the game, and so it makes it that more interesting for everyone to watch.
Rob McAllister, play-by-play voice for Sac Republic, joining us here on the Insiders. So Sac Republic, they beat San Antonio 3-1, but it was tied after the first half, and then things opened up for Republic in the second half. What changed in the second 45 minutes?
It just was going to open up. I mean, they're a team that just sort of just chucks the ball down the field. I mean, they don't really do a whole lot, and they're not, honestly, they just were a team that brought in all these stars. They tried to bring a ton of guys on loan from MLS teams, and they did that. And they just never had a team. I heard you guys talking about the Clippers. It's the same thing. You can bring talent in, but sometimes when they're older, sometimes they don't gel. It doesn't really matter. And we just have had San Antonio's number this year. I don't think we're ever in question. I mean, obviously they have a lot of talent, but to me, that game was never going to be a problem for us, and it wasn't. And the 3-1 was only the goal at the very end there because sort of the way we were playing allowed them to kind of pounce on one. But pretty much that was a shutout. I mean, 1 minute later and it's 3-0. So
now, Rob, there's something about, because we had your coach on early in the season, right after you guys had signed Davey and Kimbrough, and then so you have a 13-year-old on your roster. And then you have, like, I looked at your roster and I'm like, okay, that kid is an 18. I click on him, I look him up. Oh no, he's 16. So you have this thing where you have this cool kind of, your lowered, well, your club team is basically started to become a feeder for you guys. But then at the flip side, you have Rodrigo Lopez, who is 36 years old. So you have people at the beginning of their career, at the end of their career. And just how is that dynamic? Because it really does seem strange that you have, again, on your roster, you have like a 23-year age gap between one of the older players and the youngest player.
Well, I think it's strange in America, right? Because we're not used to it. Because most kids go to college. I think NBA, obviously, and all the players are going to high school and stuff. And so you probably, you had certain guys coming out at certain ages. I mean, I think Barkley played with Malone, right? How the age difference was there, and a lot of those type of scenarios in various sports. I just think that baseball, it's too hard. Physical play of NFL limits that. But soccer, it's fairly normal. And I think that's just something we're adjusting to in this country. I think this team and someone like Rodrigo Lopez is a great mentor to a lot of these young kids, and they can see what it takes to play at that level. And, not to go off a side tangent, but Rodrigo Lopez had a devastating quad injury. The three of us are probably still not running in any form of capacity after an injury like that he had in April. And he's back and playing 70 plus minutes. Now, he didn't play against San Antonio, just sort of the way that the game was dictated. They wanted to save him in case it went late. He could be available for extra time and penalty kicks. But I mean, here's a guy that had this almost career-ending injury has come back. So I think you see that work ethic, and these younger players can tap into that, and they can see, wow, look what he does. He's one of the best players, probably the best player in USL championship history. He's playing MLS. He's playing La Liga in Mexico. And so you have the guy, or Liga MX, I should say, you have a guy that can teach younger players how to play, and you can see that transition up. It also goes back to these younger players are so talented now, and that it's no longer that gap is as big as it once was. And especially here in America, the coaching has gotten better and the talent has risen with that. So these players are now making big jumps to overseas. And look at Christian Pulisic and some of these other big, Tyler Adams and some others that have gone on to play overseas and are still playing overseas and having a huge impact. So we're not there yet, but I think you're seeing a lot of these younger players who have a great opportunity.
Talking with Rob McAllister. He's the play-by-play voice for Sac Republic FC. Rob, something you don't know about me, I used to live in Arizona, and one of my very good friends ran social media for Phoenix Rising. So I knew about the beef between these two sides. I tried to stay out of the middle of it because my very good friend worked there. My very good friend no longer works there. So I'm all in. Why do I need to hate Phoenix Rising?
I don't think you need to. There's a couple years ago.
No, I'm gonna hate them.
Okay, well, sure. Well, here's the thing. They got us at home. They beat us 2-1, but we smashed them earlier this year at Hard Health Park 4-0. It was 4 goals in the first half, I should say. I think overall that we're probably the more talented team. They do have a lot of really good players, and a couple players that have formerly played with Sacramento who have had a really good postseason run already. But last time they beat us in the playoffs, they scored on a handball goal, and Samuel Sante was seen on the sideline after bragging to his coaches how he punched the ball in, and you can read his lips. I punched it in, and he sure as heck it is not, maybe the immaculate goal from, the hand of God kind of goal, but like there's still there's just been an intensity to this. I think it's just been two really good teams. Phoenix got a lot of love. They went on this record-setting win streak in professional sports that was just unmatched a couple of years ago. And, they've kind of taken a dip, but they've had a heck of a run at the end of the season. So it's going to be a match. Definitely going to be exciting. I don't think it's going to be, a scoreless game through it. This is both teams who know how to score. So I'd expect some goals in this one. And I just think, go Sacramento. Why? Who cares about Phoenix, right? Let's just worry about us.
That's right.
I'm all in.
Rob, we can't keep you all day. I do want to ask, are you guys getting close to a sellout? What does this mean for you guys? This is like, It's the conference championship, basically. If you guys win this, you get to play you get to host the championship the next weekend. How do people get involved? How do people get out there to see you guys and get tickets to this and maybe even the championship game the week after?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So the championship game will be on November 12th, I think 6 o'clock. But obviously this game first on Saturday, so 7 o'clock. And I think tickets are still available, but I know they've gone fast. I think we've sold out, I think, the last 7 of 9 matches, and we're still the highest attended USL team in the country. So I think it's one of those things where it's just some nights are harder than others. I know we went against the Kings home opener, but I think more importantly, it was high school football too. And I think a lot of families, we draw a lot. And so that was kind of a tough, but I think still we're getting, 9, 10,000 plus every game. We seat about 12. So even we're not sold out, it's pretty packed in there. So it's a great atmosphere. So yeah, jump on it quick. It's going to be another exciting night. It's going to be a great game. And, we're the number 2 overall seed in the entire USL championship. The number 1 seed fell in the first round of the 8th seed in the East. So yeah, we'll host. So.
All right. We'll party on. We'll be there. Rob, thank you so much for jumping on the Insiders today. We'll see you next time.
Good seeing you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. See you, Rob.